Charlie, now that somebody has decided to buy their own aircraft, do they go straight to the manufacturer to do that, or are there other options?
Well, they certainly can go straight to the manufacturer if they're certain they know exactly what type they want to buy, and also that they're willing and able to pay the full price of a new aircraft. And keep in mind, just like the fanciest new car you might ever buy, as soon as it's delivered, its value is going to depreciate. So another good option is to go take a look in the pre-owned market. And there are hundreds, thousands of good choices out there. The advantage there is, apart from the fact that a pre-owned aircraft is always going to cost less than a new aircraft is, you can shop around between different types till you find exactly what you need.
Right now, pre-owned is a great option because you can actually get a pre-owned aircraft. Backlogs at most of the OEMs are in the 18 to 24 month range. So if you want something in the near term, you really should consider pre-owned. Depreciation is also a factor, whereas new aircraft tend to suffer a great depreciation as soon as they leave the factory. When you're buying a pre-owned aircraft, some of that depreciation has already been achieved.
So if you do decide to go with a pre-owned option, how do you start?
Well, a very good place to start is with a broker, because a broker can help you narrow down your choice. A broker can ask you the right questions to truly understand what matters to you, what you really need. And, you know, there are hundreds of brokers, thousands of brokers. You want to shop around for a broker before you shop around for an aircraft.
When you hire a broker, you're hiring into a culture, in a way. You should interview your broker as you would any key employee that you plan to have on staff. That's where you need to start. The second thing is you need to obviously look at credentials and see what their expertise is. And this is truly an industry where time invested in the industry is a bit of a direct correlation to what the results will be. And I would check references. Call them and see what was the experience like, and if the experience mirrors what you envision your own might be.
And there are many other costs, and they are usually divided into two categories. There's the fixed costs and the direct operating costs.
Certainly first-time buyers are not typically aware of all the nuances of aircraft ownership. I mean, ironically, I get phone calls from people that have no idea about how they're going to place the aircraft into operation. In fact, the first time they hear that they need to consider it is from someone such as myself. And then we have to start to discuss not just the purchase price, because the last thing I want is someone to acquire an aircraft and then discover the actual cost of operation. So the fixed costs are the first things you need to consider. You acquire the aircraft, you need to hire a crew. So crew is going to be a fixed cost for you, or a management company, you're going to have a monthly management fee. You have hangar fee, you have insurance. The rest are variable costs when you start talking about programs that may cover, or a set aside that an owner has to put for engine maintenance, airframe maintenance, and avionics if they include that.
And there seems to be a myth out there that you can buy an aircraft and then have it pay for itself by chartering it out.
That's really wishful thinking, Jen. I'm sorry. I mean, the theory is sound. It is true. You can own an aircraft. You can make it available for other people to charter, usually through a management company or a charter company. And yes, they will help you to recoup some income that will probably partly cover your costs. But I've never, ever heard of anybody being able to completely cover their costs.
It has been said before that you can buy an aircraft and then charter out the excess hours and cover your costs and essentially fly for free. We've learned in life that if it sounds too good to be true, it's typically too good to be true. So while you can offset some of your costs, and we do advise clients that you can offset your costs, the chances of you essentially flying for free are very, very limited.
If you've decided to buy pre-owned, what happens with the interior, and how can you customize it to something that you want?
Absolutely. I mean, even if you find a pre-owned aircraft that's very suitable in terms of range and so on, but you hate the interior, that isn't a problem. And a good broker should be able to tell you exactly how you can go about getting the interior remodeled and what that's likely to cost. There's a good selection of really well qualified, they're called completion centers, refurb centers, and they can strip out the interior that's there and replace it with something that you have helped to design. But you know, the other thing you need to consider with cabin interiors is the resale value.
I can give an example, which was someone made the interior very bespoke. And I tried politely to say, I don't think this is quite a good idea. And I got the warning signs when I met this particular person in their house. And I could see from the decor of the house that I was in for a bit of a battle. And they chose a certain well-known brand. And it doesn't work in such a small space. The designer who was advising the client on the interior was horrified when they found out that we had to go and do burn tests on this fabric. And because it's highly treated by the makers and the chemicals in the color, it failed miserably, the tests. So it took a while to get them to say, sorry, but you can't do quite what you want. We found a way around it, but the sad thing about all of this was that, apart from the fact it cost them $2 million fee just for the pleasure of using the name, they sold the aircraft within a year and the next customer tore it all out. My advice, and it holds water no matter how many times I've seen it, not keep it simple, but don't be extravagant, because the next customer has a different taste. And you've got to appeal to a broad base of clients, and it'll cost money. And it is off the bottom line, it's off the value. It adds no value.
Head over to bjtonline.com for everything you need to know about brokers, pre-owned aircraft, and interior completion centers.